2024 net worth video. Love doing these videos. Really excited to be here again. I don't know how many deep we're into this. I probably should have looked before I started making the video, but we're like, I think this might be like the fourth or fifth year, I think. And then just a quick little disclaimer I want to make before I do any of these. Obviously, it should go without being said, but your money isn't like a, signifier of your status or worth in the world, obviously. And if this makes you uncomfortable, just don't watch it. That's all you got to do. If you do want to watch it, though, appreciate your views. Make sure you leave a like. Really appreciate that, of course. And subscribe if you enjoy me or this content. But yeah, I just like doing these videos. I really enjoy watching other people's videos, like showing their net worth, especially seeing, what other people are doing, where they're allocating their money. To me, it's just very interesting. Some people, they hate talking about money. I think it, especially when it comes to older people, maybe like over 40, 45 at this point, do not tend to be very open about money, and they be more standoffish about this kind of topic. So especially if that's you and this is just going to make you uncomfortable, just don't watch it. All right, cool. Anyways, going into it, we're going to hop off right at the top, starting with where we started off last year, which is retirement accounts. So this includes everything from IRAs, 401k, rollover IRA, so Roth IRA, rollover IRA. So last year in 2023, we ended the year with $49,535, which was fantastic. A big increase last year. This year, however, 2024, we ended the year with $75,303. That is up 34.21%, which is fantastic. I expect that to do even better in 2025. The reason I say that is just because I'm going to have more money inflowing. My income, in all honesty, has gone up a good chunk the last year and a half-ish versus, prior years. And it continues to go up, which is great. So that's going to continue to feed into things. Obviously, that could get derailed if the market goes down. I have no idea what the market will do, but that's what I'm thinking anyways. Car. So I own a 2019 Kia Soul. Outside of the fact that I'm constantly terrified it's going to get stolen, thank you, Kia boys. It's pretty reliable, knock on wood. That being said, it does continue to devalue as any car would, or most cars at least. Last year in 2023, it was worth $11,400. Every year I do the same Carvana offer just to keep things consistent. You could probably get different values everywhere. But this year, with depreciation, miles on the car, etc., it's now worth $10,000. So that's a decrease of 12.28% is what it is with a car. I'm kind of thinking about getting a Tesla used, but that's still on the back burner for now. I'm just considering it. Crypto. So last year we ended with $12,920. Crypto was sort of flat, sort of like on a, general kind of like this motion through the year. Nothing too crazy, but the last few months, and I'm recording this like a week and a half before the year ends, last few months have been crazy for crypto. And that's reflected in this amount that I'm about to share. It has gone down a little bit in the last 2 days, so it did reach a high. And I think it might have reached a high too earlier in the year at one point, and then again, plunked back down. That's kind of just the nature of crypto. They're very, very cyclical. That anyways being said, not to ramble on too much more about that, 2024, it's now worth $19,559. So that's an increase of 51.38%, which, wow, quite an increase. Not too bad there. Brokerage, 2023, $53,659. That's what we ended the year with. I did not contribute a single penny to my brokerage account this year. Just did not have it to do so. I kind of allocated it in different spots for the year. So it just did not go there. So this was just all growth inside the account itself. 2024, we ended at $65,251. So that's an increase of 21.6%. I think at several points in the year, it beat the S&P 500, and then I think it might be down versus it right now. Again, depending. It's kind of bounced around in between there. Obviously, the point of that is long-term to beat the S&P 500. That's the point of, making individual choices in an account. But I have no idea what it'll do long term. I'm hoping it will do very well versus SP 500 long term. But only time will tell. Just trying to keep doing better and better when it comes to those individual choices in the market. And then we have my emergency fund. So last year we ended at $8,345. My emergency fund is split between a mixture of cash and investments in the market. Most people would say not to invest your emergency fund. I'd probably agree with them. The point of an emergency fund is to be like readily available and liquid, and you don't really want to go down in value in case, you need the money for an emergency. But I think my situation merits it just because I have so many other areas possibly pull from. On top of that, when I did lose my job 2 years ago, I quickly got another job and was able to not even touch my emergency fund and continue saving for retirement. And I was working at Walmart. In my own personal situation, I really don't perceive it as being too much of a risk, but mileage will vary there. Anyways, in 2024, we ended just a hair above $10,000 at $10,073, so an increase of 20.70%. Cool. Savings. So this is general savings. So cash I'm saving for a house, which is kind of this general pot, and then a little tiny bit of just like general cash on the side to pay bills, but mostly saving for a house. So this is a mixture of a high yield savings account and I-bonds. So in 2023, it looks like we ended at $12,555. And then in 2024, we ended at $14,238. So that's an increase of 13.40%. This is the lowest increase in regards to my accounts that are, invested, quote unquote. This isn't really invested. It's in savings between I-bonds and the high yield savings. So it's just not going to go up as much, even though I was still funneling money into it also on the side. It didn't go up as much. I'll probably try to throw more money into this in 2025. I anticipate at least. HSA. So we started the year at $7,885. HSA was probably last year was probably the first year I took the HSA seriously and like maxed it out. Because I realized, the value of the HSA, which wish I realized it earlier, but, it is what it is. So in 2024 anyways, we ended at $12,634. So that's an increase of 60.22%. So I believe that, again, is my highest increase, versus all the other accounts, which, cool, great again. So what does that bring us to? So in 2023, we ended at $156,299. My stretch goal, and I really did not believe this was going to happen, but I was like, you know what, let's have a stretch goal, was to hit $200,000 by the end of 2024. We hit it, and I'm shocked. It's $207,058. So that's an increase of 32.47% or $50,759. And I can say that this was with really taking my foot off the gas in regards to savings, which I know seems kind of weird being that, I'm like not old or anything. I'm 29, but a lot of my efforts money-wise were put more towards other things this year, which I'll go into in a second. But so that, and I still did contribute a large amount of my income. I saved more than the average person, even still, I'd say. It's like, I think my savings rate is like 25 to 27% roughly. So I'm definitely above the average, just not as extreme as I used to be. So that's something important to keep in mind. But wow, really crushed it out of the park there, in my opinion. If the market keeps continuing how it goes, I'd say passing like 250K, $250,000 by the end of 2025. Not impossible at all. If the market goes down, I have no idea. Obviously, we'll continue to add to it if the market goes down, and I am kind of hoping that is the case so I can just get more bang for my buck. A little tired of this constant bull market, to be honest. Then, we're going to experience different amounts over that time period. But I don't know what's going to happen. No one really knows. They're lying if they tell you they do. So outside of my increases in those investment accounts, what are my expenses for the year? Now you can see the space that I'm in is a little different from last year if you're familiar with that. I no longer have roommates. So I moved out of a roommate situation for the first time in my life, no longer have roommates, and got my own apartment. That was a significant increase in expenses for me. I went from $725 in rent to $1,280-ish plus fees and utilities. Basically, it ends up being a little over double what I was paying for like living expenses, including utilities, last year. That was my choice, but it was something that I thought merited the choice. I was just done with roommates and I could afford it, and that's kind of, I guess, part of lifestyle inflation. It is what it is. Eventually, you just can't be with roommates anymore, and I was past that point. Anyways, so what other large expenses do we have for the year outside of, living expenses like this? So I went to Europe with some friends. Don't regret that at all, but it was expensive. Visited 3 countries: Germany, Poland, Turkey, technically Czech Republic. I tend to keep expenses pretty low on trips. I don't really set out like a budget necessarily, but I'm not like going for expensive hotels. We stayed in a hostel one night, splitting hotels, tried to get, the relatively cheapest option that was still like clean and safe, things like that. I don't go to expensive restaurants. It's just not my vibe. So things like that do decrease the cost in that way. We also got a really cheap flight round trip. It was like under $600, I think, from Raleigh, where I live now, to Frankfurt, and that was just the cheapest place to go into. So all of the flights, accommodations, food, souvenirs, what else here? Transportation. I also lost my wallet / got robbed in Turkey. Not really sure which of the two happened. I still don't know, but I lost some money there too. Altogether, though, that cost $2,400 for Europe. The other thing I did, as you can see what I'm wearing here, Berkshire Hathaway. I went to the Berkshire Hathaway meeting in Omaha. It was amazing. It was such a cool experience seeing Warren Buffett. There's a good chance that I'll go again in 2025. A pretty solid chance, 90% chance, but you never know. I did end up, obviously the flight, probably the most expensive part, high demand to Omaha at that very specific time period. Paid for a hotel. Transportation mostly was on my friend's side. He rented a car, so didn't have too much of that as an expense, but did have the hotel, did have the flight, food, obviously, souvenirs. Again, don't regret that either. That was a really fun trip, worthwhile experience. That was $1,500. Then we have Mexico. So I went to a friend's wedding in Mexico. Again, don't regret that. One of my, favorite friends out there, and I was in the bridal party. That was $1,300. So that was just between, again, flight, accommodations at a resort, and then wedding gifts. Not bad at all. I think was able to split a room with a friend, so that did decrease costs there, which would have been higher by a good margin. Car repairs, Kia Soul coming back in the mix here. Unfortunately, as reliable as this car is, knock on wood again, it did have some issues with it. Well, not even issues, I'd say. I had to replace basically the brakes and something else, the battery, I think. Something, various little maintenance things at like 75,000 miles basically. And that was $1,200. So it is what it is. Cars, you got to get maintenance on. An iPhone, this one, what I'm recording on right now, box, was not a necessary purchase necessarily. Again, sort of like the trips or this apartment. But my phone that I did have before, the Pixel 6 Pro, just randomly decided to stop working. I do need a phone for my work. I need a phone in order to function at work. So I bought this cheap phone that I'm looking at my notes on for $200 at Walmart. And that lasted me a few months. But ultimately, I wanted to make the investment in something that I was like, you know what? I'm going to switch to iPhone. We'll see how this works. I got the best possible version, hoping that this will last a few years and won't die on me at 2.5 years like every single Pixel has so far. So hopefully, even though this was very expensive, hopefully, over time kind of pays for itself. So I won't have to hopefully replace this phone for a long time. Fingers crossed. So this was $1,400, which is kind of insane. This is the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So it's the best version of it, but I think by getting like the better version of the phone, it should hopefully age a little better and last a little bit over time. So we'll see. Please don't fail on my iPhone. New apartment supplies / furniture. That's gonna be another $800. I had to get like a couch, TV stand thing, kitchen table, just other various kitchen supplies, soap, paper towel thing, etc. So that's about $800. Not too bad, I don't think. A lot of, some stuff like my bed, obviously I still had from being a roommate. I have my own bed, obviously, dresser. So it is what it is. And last but not least, probably my dumbest purchase of the year, but nevertheless a purchase I made, is this lovely laser engraver. Yes, a laser. I bought a laser. I don't know. I got in my mind that I wanted a laser, and I bought one. I waited for the Black Friday sale. It was $1,176. Did I need a laser? Absolutely not. Do I know if this is going to produce any sort of income for me? I have no idea. I still have not gotten to work. It turns out I got one that was defective, so I have to ship it back. But we'll see over the long term. I guess you'll know next year if that ends up being anything. Or if I don't talk about it, that means I'm too embarrassed because I made a stupid purchase. But it's kind of cool anyways. I like the idea of owning a laser. But yeah, that was most of my main big purchases for the year. Obviously, there's other instances where my spending has just increased, that I've kind of loosened the reins. I've spent a lot more money going on, dates, paying for dates. I've spent just more on the food that I'm buying. I buy real maple syrup, which I know is just kind of a stupid thing for most people, but I would just buy the cheapest of the cheapest for food before, and I'm more buying a lot, I found, of the premium of things now. Just again, my income has started to increase a good amount every, year. And yeah, I'm experiencing lifestyle inflation. It's the honest truth. I guess another one I can think of, butter. My butter has gotten better. I eat Irish butter now instead of the stick butter, crap butter. That's currently where I'm at. That's 2024. We'll see how 2025 goes. I have no idea what that holds in store. I'm pretty happy with 2024. The reins have loosened quite a bit financially wise, but I'm still saving quite a lot, at least relative to probably other people in my age and income bracket. But I guess it would depend. Some people, though, I'm sure there are people out there that are doing far better than me. I know that for a fact. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, people with far superior finances and income to me, far superior. So that's always going to be the case. And then I'm sure there's some of you that have less, and that's totally okay too. We're all on our own path, so please don't judge yourself against me if I do happen to be higher than you. And if I'm lower than you, yeah, lord it over me, because you're doing better, so cheers to you. But I appreciate you watching. If you don't mind, again, leaving a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. I'd love to interact with you. Really appreciate you watching, though, and I will see you in next year's video.